Yeah. Jai Jinendra and good evening. Let's start with Navkar Mantra.
नमो वज्जानम नमो लोहे सर्वसाहुनम ऐसो पंच नमो कारो
सर्वोपनासना मंगलानंच सर्वेसिं परमं हवै मंगलम.
Hi everybody, I hope everybody is well, staying at home, keep staying at home, be safe. Now we have our chairman Bhavarlalji. Can you unmute Bhavarlalji? We have request Bhavarlalji to please introduce. Please
Okay,
welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, shall I start?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Jai Janandra to one and all. I hope everyone are at home, healthy and fine. On behalf of G2 Hubli chapter and international wing, I welcome all the G2 members in India and across the globe for today's webinar by Harish Bijur, the branding guru, and Gautam Oswal, the international wing chairman of G2, for arranging this valuable meeting. I am sure this will be very helpful to all of you. Thank you one and all.
Thank you. Can you unmute Kushalji? Kushalji is my partner in JIW, did a lot of work. Now Oman, he's taking care. Kushalji, like you to request you to please introduce our today's guest.
जय जिनेंद्र and very good evening to all of you. हरीश जी, आज इतना खुश नसीब हूँ मैं कि आपको इंट्रोड्यूस कर रहा हूँ. Branding and marketing is the core subject in this world, and we are privileged to introduce the legendary brand guru Sri Harish ji Bijur ji. नमस्कार सर.
नमस्कार सर.
हरीश जी अपनी एक ब्रांड कंसल्टिंग फर्म चलाते हैं जिनका प्रेजेंस हांगकांग, सिएटल, लंदन, इस्तांबुल, दुबई एंड इंडियन सब कॉन्टिनेंट में है. सर आप एक जगह से इतना बड़ा काम कर रहे हैं और इतने लोगों को गाइड कर रहे हैं. इट्स अ ग्रेट प्रिविलेज. हरीश जी इज ऑल्सो ए पब्लिक मोटिवेशनल ब्रांड मार्केटिंग स्पीकर. कोई चीज को अगर चमकानी हो तो हरीश जी की ये जो एक खूबी है वो वास्तव में तारीफ काबिल है. He has spoken to corporate audience across the world for 15,812 hours. Unbelievable. सर आपके पेशेंस, आपके जज्बा को हम सलाम करते हैं. आप ISB हैदराबाद में फैकल्टी है और 19 साल से हैं और ग्लोबली आप US और मोहाली और बड़े बड़े यूरोप के कॉलेजेस और यूनिवर्सिटीज में आप फैकल्टी हैं. आप मुझे जान के बहुत खुशी हुई कि यू आर इन्वॉल्व डीपली इन द रिसर्च एंड दैट टू इन रूरल कंज्यूमर बिहेवियर, रूरल रिटेल नेटवर्क, एंड योर पेपर्स आर पब्लिश्ड in subjects related to strategic marketing, branding, consumer behavior. I am sure the whole G2 world welcomes you, sir, and we are glad to listen, and I'm sure it would be a transformational time in the next 30 minutes. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Kushal bhai.
Thank you.
I'm Gautam Oswal, Chairman, International Wing and past Apex Secretary. I'm sure we have 11 chapters, and I'm sure most of the chapters are with us now in this webinar. Now today's topic is new marketing mantra for COVID Kal and beyond by our brand guru Harish Bijur ji. We'll have a 25-minute talk and 15-minute QA. If anyone have a question, please send in. We will go through the chart and we'll definitely ask your questions. Request Harish Bijur to please take over.
Thank you, Oswalji, and thank you to the family of G2, members of G2 from all across the world by and large. Firstly, I think it's a great pleasure for me to be here. I have heard of G2 from the outside. I have experienced G2 at one of your conventions where I had come and spoken at a particular point of time. And I know the kind of a passion that this community brings to the world of business. Now today, my dear friends, we are all at the crossroads of a very important event called COVID-19. Now COVID-19, I call it today, I refer to the current Kal as COVID Kal, because it is a Kal which has happened out of the blue. It is a Kal which has happened without us asking for it. It is a Kal which has actually troubled a lot of the world in so many ways. The first trouble that we have had is the trouble to the health of so many millions of people across the globe. And our heart goes out to each one of them. And if you really look at it, I think India, we experienced COVID in early days, right after January. And I think the government of India has taken some very excellent steps with Prime Minister Modi ji actually creating an environment for the control and control of COVID by and large, so that the nation of 1.36 billion people are not affected too dramatically by COVID. However, certain very, very difficult decisions had to be taken, not only by Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, but by the prime ministers and the presidents of many, many countries, by the administrations that run many, many countries. Everybody saying that we need to control ourselves. We need to be within our homes for a period of time. Therefore, the language lockdown is something which all of us are very familiar with. All of us talk about the lockdown. All of us say that the lockdown is good for us. At this point of time, however, we have to appreciate and say that as the lockdown continues, what happens to business? So the subject that I'm talking to you about is new marketing mantras for COVID, Kal, and beyond. Well, what have I done? I've always believed that power corrupts and PowerPoint corrupts absolutely. So I'm not using PowerPoint in this webinar. So what I've done is I've taken razors, whichever lying around in my house, and then I've taken some post-it pads, and just to break the monotony of our conversation, so that you don't look only at my boring face, I give you the subject in this manner. So, new marketing mantras for COVID, Kal, and beyond. So what am I going to do? First of all, I want to paint COVID, Kal, and then I'll give you 4 or 5 mantras out of 206 marketing mantras that I have put together for COVID, Kal. Now, 4 or 5 is not enough, but then for the rest of it, we can always chat offline. Now, if you look at it, ladies and gentlemen, my entire crisis starts with COVID. And I believe COVID is a crisis. And crises happen in many different ways. One type of a crisis is created by ourselves most of the time. And crisis happens in personal life and in public life, in personal life and in professional life. In both personal and professional life, at times, crisis is created by ourselves at times. That's one type of crisis. The second type of crisis is crisis which is created by the ecosystem. So let's say you are an auto maker, or you are an auto ancillary parts maker, and all of a sudden the entire auto industry goes into a tizzy and it is on the downturn, and that affects the overall ecosystem of auto. And that is the ecosystem affecting COVID. Kal. The third type of a crisis that we talk about is a crisis, done by government action. And this crisis could be positive crisis. If you look at the last positive crisis we had was demonetization a couple of years ago, when all of a sudden high denomination 1,000 rupee and 500 rupee notes were demonetized. Now that is also a kind of a crisis. And guess what? That crisis was created by government action. And that government action is something none of us knew would happen. And therefore, personal crisis, ecosystem crisis, government crisis, for the first time in our lives, we come across the fourth type of a crisis. And this crisis is by act of God. Force majeure. I think force majeure, a crisis which comes to us, which is a kind of a pandemic, is certainly out of the blue. It is something which hits us in the solar plexus and says, hey, take it easy. So if you ask me, the current COVID crisis is essentially a crisis which is telling us, take it easy. The COVID-19 crisis you and I are facing today is a pause moment. It is a comma moment. It is not a full stop moment. It is a comma moment that is telling us, hey, take it easy. You were going a little too fast. You were going a little too awry. You were going a little too concerned about I, me, and myself. And I think here I want to very quickly cover a quick theory of mine, which is, I have built theories on concern circles. Concern circles. What is a concern circle? I have studied this across a large number of sample sizes, across some 26,350 sample sizes, across 8 countries. And here I have come across an inner circle of concern. What is concern? Most of us as human beings are concerned about I, me, myself first. So I draw an inner circle. In the inner circle, I am concerned only about I, me, and myself. Outside that inner circle, I draw one slightly broader circle. And in that broader circle, I put my family of 4.5. Now, where does 4.5 come? Because the Indian census says that in every Indian family, there are 5.5 people. That's how numbers are. I've been to many homes, not found that half a person, but that's how statistics are. I, inner circle, slightly outer circle, my family of 4.5 plus I, that is 5.5. And then I draw another circle around it, and that circle says I, my family of 5.5, altogether including me, and my community. Community. Are we really concerned about community? Well, I think the members on this panel, the listeners from GITO, are certainly concerned about community. But are we as business people, are we as people in the larger world really concerned about community? My answer is a sad answer. And the answer says, in India, we are not concerned about community. Very sad. That's a sweeping generalization. GITO and its folks are concerned about community. But go outside and you look around, we have a little bit of a problem. I draw another outer circle around it. I come only to community. I, my family of 5.5, my community, which is my locality, my city. How many of us are concerned about our cities? Not too many people. Another outer circle I'll draw outside that. And that outer circle is something that says, my country. Yes, we are concerned about my country, but not all the time, at times. And then I say, I, my family of 5.5, my community, my city, my country, my world. And the outermost circle is the cosmos. In my research across these 26,000 and odd people across 8 countries, I find there are 5 countries which are concerned about the cosmos first, and then about the individual. Cosmos comes first, world comes later, and then comes everything else. And these 5 countries are Norway, Sweden, Denmark, the Netherlands, and the Switzerland. All of the countries, I and my family of 5.5 comes first. Therefore, COVID possibly is telling us, hey, listen, it's high time you bothered a little more than yourself and your family of 5.5. Start getting concerned about the community, at least, and later about the city. So COVID is a call which is telling us, halt, think, and move. And for businesses, I think it is a lesson. There are lessons to be learned for businesses. And I'm going to talk about 4 path-breaking changes as I see it in the minds of consumers post-COVID call. So this pause moment is a fantastic moment to think, to adopt, to adapt, to morph, to change, and to say, I'm going to do things differently in my business and in my personal life and in my social life, in my economic life, in my political life, in my religious life even. So I have worked in the space of disruption. This is the second thing I want to talk to you about for a little while. I've worked in the space of disruption. Disruption is my arena of research. For the last 6.5 years, I have traveled across countries, across companies, across governments, and trying to tell them how to disrupt the normal. So disruption is also of different kinds. There is one kind of a disruption which says that, it is disruption which says that the consultant, comes across to your organization and tells you this is the way you do business, I think you should change. And why change? Because change is the only permanent item on the agenda. And I've been trying to create change in many, many organizations. And when you create change in an organization, it creates humongous results. In the beginning, everybody is bothered about change, but later the change creates humongous results, top line and bottom line included. Now, that is one kind of disruption, and that disruption is called disruption by design, disruption by volition. The second kind of disruption is disruption by government intervention. We've spoken about that. The third kind of disruption is disruption by nature. And the current disruption that we are talking about is disruption by nature. But my dear friends, I think this is a fantastic opportunity for all of us in the world of business to disrupt our business. Because this is an opportunity which is a pause moment, a comma moment, which says, look around and think community as well. Business must be done. Profit is a motive, but profit not for me alone, but profit for all is a new motto and a new motive that one could really think of in an inclusive manner in the new world of COVID-19. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a little while. I call this entire disruption movement of mine for 6.5 years as the BVM moment. And what is BVM? BVM is the Brahma, the Vishnu, and the Maheshwara cycle of our businesses. Brahma, the creator. You must create a business. You have created a fantastic business. You have created it. Wonderful. You have done the role of Brahma into your business. Vishnu, the preserver. You must preserve your business every passing day, every crisis, every opportunity, every threat is a way of you preserving your business and taking it to the next step. You have done your Vishnu role. Maheshwara, the destroyer. You must also destroy your business at one point of time. Destroy to recreate. Create an Amrit Manthan of your own making into your business so that you can crack it open with newer ideas and a larger footprint which aims for a different kind of a goal. The goal being profit not just for me, profit for all. And I think there's nothing wrong with profit. Greed is good is an American statement. Greed is good, but greed for all, not greed for some. And I think that is something that you and I have to look at it. I think COVID-19 is nature's call of a different kind. It is nature's call to say, change. Nature's call to say, take it easy. Nature's call to say, make it easy. Nature's call to say, get inclusive. Nature's call to say, get holistic. Nature's call to say, get green. Nature's call to say, get inclusive and natural, and many, many other calls. I think what's happened is in the world of marketing, and I'm talking marketing today, my dear friends, we have worshipped hollow gods in marketing. Hollow gods. We have not worshipped solid gods. We have done a lot of mistakes in marketing. And these mistakes, this is the time to correct it. Marketing has gone from the sublime to the ridiculous. Ridiculous. Some time ago, we had a toothpaste which marketed itself as the toothpaste with oxygen in it. Oxygen? Huh? It had a brand name also, which I can't take, I won't take. But the point is toothpaste with oxygen in it. This oxygen infused toothpaste came into the market. And I must tell you the advertising situation. Advertising people are fun people, right? They create very, very nice creative situations. The advertising showed a dating couple. A dating couple, typically in the old days, there would be a boy at one end and a girl at another end, and the two would be dating. They've gone and sat down in a restaurant. There's a round table. On the round table, there is a candle lit. It's a candlelit dinner. Boy is looking into girl's eyes. Girl is looking into boy's eyes. And as they're looking, the girl opens her mouth to talk and the candle goes boom. You know why? Because there is oxygen in the toothpaste that she used that morning. How ridiculous. Can you create propositions which are ridiculous, which are creatively excellent, but ridiculous propositions? I think marketeers have gone bonkers. We have had an honest shirt in the past. We have had a healthy television. If you watch more of this television, you will become more healthy. How far can we go in the sublime to the ridiculous moment in marketing is the key question. COVID-19 tells us get real. COVID-19 tells us become real. COVID-19 tells us pull up your socks. COVID-19 tells us look after more than yourself and the kitty of your top line and your bottom line. There is something more than the top line and the bottom line. And all of us know what that is. Are you looking after that is the key question that comes to the fore. So at this point of time, I'm going to jump into some concepts. Just 4 I've told you out of 216 that I have. So the first concept, let's go over. The first thing I want to tell you, mantra number 1, COVID mantra number 1 is simply, in the old days, we used to say, the world is your oyster. You remember this? The world is your oyster. Go, young man, conquer the world. Our teachers have told us this. We have read about it in the books. The world is open to you. Move there. Grab the opportunity. My dear friends, today I am changing it altogether. And I'm patenting a new phrase altogether. And my patented phrase is, the world is not your oyster anymore. The oyster is your world. Your house is the oyster. You and I are locked up in our houses today, and we are likely to be locked down again and again and again. God forbid, if the COVID-19 virus, if not any other virus, keeps coming again and again. What is the meaning of the oyster is your world? It simply means one thing. Your home is more than a home. What is it? Your home is more than a home. Your home is your office. So which means that you might as well equip your home to behave like an office in an emergency as well. The home is not only a home, the home is not only an office, the home is a gym as well. What? I have to have a gym in my house? Maybe yes. The home is not an office, the home is not a home, the home is not a gym. The home needs to be more. The home is an entertainment theater. During COVID-19, within the Indian context, the one business which has boomed indoors is the OTT business, the OTT streaming business. Alt Balaji has gone through the roof. Everybody is watching Alt Balaji. Netflix has gone through the roof. Amazon Prime has gone through the roof. In the old days, in 8 big cities of India, earlier it was 6 cities which were researched, then 8, we found out that 38 minutes was the amount of time an average working person in a Mumbai or a Delhi or a Calcutta would spend watching OTT channels. Today, it is 3 hours, 42 minutes. 3 hours, 42 minutes. All of a sudden, entertainment within the house has become a big, big option. What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of the saying that the oyster is your house? All of us are talking about the real estate business is in a bad shape. No, my dear friends, I think the real estate business will do boomingly well, particularly in residential space. Yes, in commercial office space, the real estate will have a problem. You know why residential places will do well? Everybody who's been locked in will now reconsider the size of their home. I want a larger space to live in. We don't know when I will have to spend a lot of time within my home. I will be equipping it with technology because you need technology. I'll be equipping it with entertainment options because you need it. I will equip it with private spaces where I can become private in my home itself. Because today, you know, when people are working from home, they need a little bit of privacy as well. So if you ask me, all this is going to come in. The real estate industry in the residential spaces is going to boom because of this one thought to say that the oyster is your world. Ladies and gentlemen, I think in marketing, there's yet another issue. And the issue is that, you know, we have to consider that there are 2 segments in our market. If I'm talking about India, I typically say there are 2 Indias, okay? One is what I call static India, and the other is what I call migrant India. Now, static India, we're a total population of 1.36 billion people. Static India, large numbers of people are static Indians. We have a home, we live in a particular place, and we don't move about too much. We only travel on work and come back home. But migrant India is a big population of people, of migrant workers. The total population of migrant workers in India as at last month was 126 million people. I call them the builders of modern India. Why do I call them the builders of modern India? Because every home that you and I live in is built by the migrant worker. Every theater you and I go to is built by the migrant worker. Every skyscraper is built by migrant worker. Every bridge is built by migrant worker. But the migrant worker does not have an identity. 126 million people are migrant workers in India, and if you look at them, the only point of time they come into attention is during COVID-19, because their plight has come to the fore. Otherwise, they are part of what I call invisible India. These are invisible Indians. You and I are visible Indians. People see us. We have an identity. We have a vote. The migrant worker does not have a mobile vote. His vote is not mobile. His vote is stuck to the place where he is meant to be. So if you really look at it, there seems to be a challenge in that space as well. I'll go on for another 5 minutes and then come in to take some questions. So what is the second person? Migrant Indian is 126 million people, means it's the size of the population of Japan. Number of people as many as there are in Japan are migrant workers in India. Add another 20 million of second generation migrant workers who have settled down as maids and drivers and cooks, and that's 20 million. 20 million, 21 million is the population of Sri Lanka. So one Sri Lanka plus one Singapore, Japan is the migrant worker population of this country. If you ask me, important thing that gets redefined for us now is the rich must take care of the poor. Why? Because there's a simple concept. The World Bank, the WMC has got a report called the Next 5 Billion. This report says if the world is a pyramid like this, the top 2 billion people of the world, in the world there are 7 and odd billion people. The top 2 billion people of the world are rich, and the bottom 5.8 billion people are poor, which means to say that the rich can afford everything, the poor cannot afford anything. And which also means to say that markets of the future will not come from the segments of the rich, because the rich have everything and there's a kind of a saturation among the rich. Markets of the future will come from the poor of the world. How can the poor of the world become markets? The poor of the world are not ready-made markets. The rich must make them to become markets. There's a selfish goal there. The rich must take care of the poor. So if 2 billion people are rich, they have to take care of 5 billion poor people. 2:5 is 1:2.5, which means that every one person must take care of 2.5 people. And if you take care of those 2.5 people, then marketing can progress to a different level. I'm even going to the extent saying, I'm also giving a suggestion to say that if you have to take care of the poor, we must have a differential pricing mechanism for them as well. There's no reason why any one of us must pay the same price for dal, chini, chawal, atta as a migrant laborer must pay, which means to say that you could have a differentiated card-based pricing mechanism in the future. Let me go to one other issue. Without banners, charity without the banner is an important task, because many of us are involved in charity, but many of us wear a t-shirt or a banner or put stickers on the charity item. My request to everybody is this form of marketing must not be followed at all. Marketing must have pure intent. And I think pure intent marketing, it will be viewed with great degree of care by the people in our society. Having said that, I think, I'm going to come to, okay, let me do one more bit, which is another minute or so. I have this inclusiveness as the last concept. I think you and I must be very, very inclusive in whatever we do. What do I mean by this? I mean to say that, you know, we must take care of our community. Why? Not only for the reasons that we are good people, but for reasons that we are also bad people. What's the meaning of that? I live in a gated enclave, let us say, which is very well kept and well taken care of. Now, this is my dengue mosquito analogy. You know, we had dengue mosquitoes biting us a lot and creating dengue fever and a lot of the time. At that time, I put this analogy together. We live in very clean surroundings, but outside our gated enclave, people live in the slums and the shanties. We are not bothered about the people who live in the slums and the shanties, and that is not a great thing to be. We should be bothered about them because the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which breeds the dengue, which carries dengue, actually breeds in the slums and the shanties of our towns. So the Aedes aegypti breeds in the slum and shanty of the slums outside my nice, lovely gated enclave. And the Aedes aegypti mosquito goes and bites people in the slums and creates dengue within them. And then the same Aedes aegypti flies in seamlessly and, you know, right through the gates of my gated enclave and bites you and me also. So why should you take care of your society, immediate society surrounding? I'm giving you a very selfish motive. I'm giving you selfish motive. At least for that sake, let us take care of our immediate community. Marketing of the future, marketing in COVID call is going to be all talking about taking care of your immediate surroundings. And therefore, let's be careful and let's take care of other people. Let's be caring a little more. And I think all marketers across the globe have to change on this concept of being caring. Thank you. Over to you, Oswalji. I can't hear you. Yeah.
Harish bhai, it was too good, and your new style of presentation, it is really.
COVID call presentation, sir.
We were bored seeing the presentation. And now the regular, we are having a webinar, 1 or 2 in a day. So everybody who comes, this is now the luxury item will not run. Now, if anyone has a luxury item, can you some say do and don'ts for the marketing?
Wonderful. Very good. Very good question, sir. I don't agree that luxury items will not run. There are two concepts. In modern society, we must appreciate that there are a lot of people with a lot of money with them. A lot of money which is waiting to fly out. I want to take you to China. And when China opened, it's after the lockdown, the Hermes store actually recorded a 2.6 million USD kind of a sale in one store. Why did that happen? There is a concept called revenge buying. When you're locked down too much, when your money isn't being able to go out, it suddenly, when it comes out, it goes out with a revenge. Let's leave that aside. Let me answer the question, you know, holding the bull by the horn. There are luxury products. In the old days, if I built a pyramid like this, at the bottom of the pyramid would be cheaper products, and these were called needs and wants products. There are two kinds of products. One is needs and wants products, which cater to your need and want. And then there are desires and aspirations products. Now, what are needs and wants product? It's a handbag which costs 500 rupees is a needs and wants product in which you can keep money. A lady can keep money and she can take it out to a party, etc. The desires and aspiration product, the same 500 rupee product is available for 2.1 lakh rupees. Okay, and they're very, very branded names. I won't take names. I can't take names. These branded names are desires and aspirations, and these are wants and needs. Now, will these luxury brands go out of fashion? Yes, they can get impacted, but they'll not go out of fashion because the luxury market will still be there. However, there are other categories where you have a desires and aspiration product. Branding has always created a want to take needs and wants products and make them into desires and aspiration products. I think that is called branding. Taking a need and want and creating desire and aspiration. Post-COVID, you have to rebrand. And rebranding is you have to take a desires and aspiration product and make it look like a needs and wants product. Take a desires and aspiration product, make it look like a needs and wants product. Give you an example. There's a luxury builder, not a luxury, a premium builder. And the builder says that, you know, I have got a 5-bedroom flat. 5-bedroom? We have always been 1 BHK, 2 BHK, 3 BHK, 5 BHK. Why? Now is the opportunity for him to say that 5 BHK is not a luxury anymore. 5 BHK is functional practicality, because in a lockdown era, you are within the confines of your house, you really need 5 BHK. So the guy who spent a lot of money taking needs and wants and making it into desires and aspiration now has to spend money to make desires and aspirations look like needs and wants, because many desires and aspirations are going to become needs and wants. Yeah.
Thank you. We have KK Bhansali. Karan Bagrecha. Please unmute Karan Bagrecha and Piyush Shah from UAE.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
Sir, myself Karan Bagrecha. I am an architect from Surat.
Yes, Karan.
Sir, being a fresh architect, we surely don't have a big capital to go for marketing.
Yeah.
Nor do we have large projects as of now. So, how do we? So, what do you suggest best and cost-effective way to promote or market ourselves?
Okay. I would put it this way. There is something called low-cost marketing, and it's all about saying that word of mouth used to be the best form of marketing in the old days. But word of mouth is not enough, because one mouth can tell it to 1 year, and that mouth will tell it to 5 years, and it grows in a particular progression. But the new day and age is about word of digital, WOD. Digital marketing is much more geometric in the way it booms. It doesn't go 1 to 5 to 25, but it goes from 1 to 5 to 80,000 to 500,000. So digital marketing, believe in digitalism. I keep saying digitalism is the new religion for a lot of us. What is the best way to make a friend? Maybe on Tinder, right swipe, left swipe, super like, you won't know what it is. The next thing is, what's the best way to see a tiger? Not to go to Tadoba Andhari National Park and wait for 8 safaris and maybe see a tiger for 2 minutes, no, but to just sit in front of Discovery Channel and watch a movie made by Mr. Nallamuthu for 28 minutes, on which he spent 2 years. You know everything about the tiger, and the tiger is much closer than what you would have seen elsewhere. Of course, nature in its own bounty is beautiful. But how do you buy a power bank? You go to 7 different shops. You go to Amazon and maybe compare someone else and buy and click. Digitalism is the new religion. Every 100 years, you may have a new religion. Capitalism, communism, fascism, digitalism now. And more so now, young Indians, even in the space that you're talking about, in the space of homes, in the space of architecture, in the space of design, you don't know where your body ends and the machine life begins. You don't know where the machine ends and where the body begins. So digitalism is a great way of spreading your word. And I think, word of mouth versus word of digital, better way. And it's low cost. Digitalism is not as expensive as mega advertising. All the best.
Thank you. Can we have Ankesh Jain? Ankesh?
Hi. Hello, sir.
Hi. Hi, Ankesh.
I'm Ankesh Jain, into business of advertisements, actually.
Okay.
Probably. I just wanted to know, presently, India is a big rural market. If you see, 70% of people are engaged in rural business. So, at present situation, what do you think? How should we, target those people, to get basically, give our message about the product to those people? Because I'm not finding more things. Even digitalization also, it's not practically possible to reach the rural market.
Okay. Good question. You know, 69.1% of the population of this country lives in rural areas, the population of India. Now, if you have to approach that, advertising has been very efficient in approaching this 30 and odd % in urban areas or in the tier 2 towns included, but not very efficient in rural. My belief in digitalism is very strong even for rural. I do a fair bit of work in rural. Let me give you an idea. I went to Punjab and I spent about 18 days in rural Punjab trying to understand the rural milieu of Punjab. 93% of the homes I walked into had Facebook, and 98.7% of the homes I walked into had something called TikTok. TikTok is frowned about in urban India. We say it's not classy. Facebook is good, Twitter is good, Instagram is good, but in rural India, it's TikTok. You go to any rural area today, when you come out, they know you're an urban guy. They'll say, will you become my Facebook friend? They'll ask you that. Will you become my Facebook friend? They want you to become their friend. And TikTok is a killer app. Believe it or not, advertising through these formats is a great way to go. If you ask me, there's yesterday, let's say yesterday there was an announcement regarding RIL, Reliance Industries, and everything that's coming out. A beautiful thing has happened. And that is going to make inroads into rural India. Jio Platforms has tied up with Facebook. Facebook, which we till today thought was a social media activity, frivolous, nothing, no monetization, not enough monetization, has a 9.99% stake in Jio Platforms. What are we talking about? Jio is the platform. Facebook is the action point, which is going to take the messaging out into rural India, urban India. Shopkeepers are going to be connected here onto this, which means that rural shopkeepers are also going to get connected. Rural homes are going to get connected. So this is seamless connectivity. If I make a triangle, at one end of the triangle is data, and data is the new oil. Data is the new oil. And that's why Jio Platforms has got that kind of a valuation by Facebook. At another end of the triangle are consumers. At another end of the triangle is this entire business of saying that, India is a country of shopkeepers. We are a country of 14.6 million shopkeepers. So this connectivity is going to make pathways into rural markets even more seamless. What is Jio Platforms at the end of the day? It is just a platform. Jio is in the patri business. If I take the railway analogy, they're setting up the, tracks. Jio is the track, not the dabba business. The dabba business doesn't give you as much value as the track business. And the track carries data. And data mixes social media with social need and creates seamless connectivity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have KK Bansali from Bangalore.
Hi, Bansali sir.
हेलो हाय
हाय
यस हाँ अरिज जी साहब बहुत मजा आ गया आपको सुनकर
थैंक यू साहब
अभी मेरा सवाल एक ही है अभी सब लोग घरों में बैठे हैं और मालूम है कि 2-4 महीने तक शायद हो सकता है घरों में बैठना होगा अब आखिर में बिजनेस चलेंगे कौन से ये लॉकडाउन भी खुल जाएगा बिजनेस घर पे सब लोग घर पे है तो बिजनेस क्या चलेगा अब आगे
करेक्ट बहुत अच्छी क्वेश्चन है साहब बहुत पेनफुल क्वेश्चन भी है आप पूछेंगे तो मेरे हिसाब से बात यह है कि हमारे यहाँ दो तरह के बिजनेस हैं वन इज आउट ऑफ होम बिजनेस और दूसरी है इन होम बिजनेस नाउ आउट ऑफ होम बिजनेस बल्क ऑफ हमारे बिजनेस आउट ऑफ होम लेकिन कई ऐसे बिजनेसेस हैं जो इन होम है इन होम बिजनेसेस क्या क्या हैं हमारे टेलीविजन जो घर में आता है वो इन होम है रेडियो इज इन होम अ लॉट ऑफ इट एफएम रेडियो इज आउट ऑफ होम लेकिन IT is quite in home. I work with a couple of IT majors. We have been able to transition 92.6% of work from office complexes to the home within 11 days flat. You talk TCS, you talk Wipro, you talk Infosys, you talk Cognizant, anybody. So they will do well. Banking and financial services can happen from the home. So if you ask me, those are the kind of businesses which are going to boom. Digital marketing can go on from home. Businesses which depend on the outside world, they cannot. The outside world businesses which are really tanked are the airline business. The second thing is, of course, the cinema business, the restaurant business, anything outdoor. But the beauty of this is there are some businesses where lost demand will never come back. And there are some businesses where lost demand will come back. Lost demand will never come back for the airline seat that went empty, the restaurant that went empty, it will never come back. For the Uber cab that went empty, it will never come back. But lost demand will come back for the cars business. If you postponed a car or the buying a flat, all that will come back. So some businesses will come back, some businesses will not come back. Important things are, what I want to say is, every business must have a yin and a yang. A yin which is outdoor and a yang which is indoor. That is a good way to support businesses during tough times. Important thing is, 2 avatars must be there for every business. Even if it's a manufacturing business, I know how tough it is. There is a need to look at virtual manufacturing. There are companies which have invested in virtual manufacturing. One more thing that's going to happen is automation. A lot of people are going to depend on complete automation. And that's why new technology is going to take us a different route. But difficult times for sure. Thank you. I can't hear you.
Shah from UAE. Yes, Piyush bhai.
Namaste, Gautam ji. Gautam ji, part of my question was asked by Mr. Karan Bagracha of Surat. So yes, we are a small industry manufacturing telecom manufacturers based in UAE. We have a lot of budgets for R&D, but we cannot spend a lot of money on branding, and we are competing to the world nationals. Our products are very reliable. So what to go about this? You said digitization, digital platforms, we are very active and we are getting good mileage. Any other area where which you can propose us to?
Yeah. Sir, if you really look at it, at the end of the day, if you have got a terrific product, nothing is needed, theoretically speaking. But the world is such a place that jo dikta hai, bikta hai. And in that kind of an environment, you also have to join the ruckus of thoda to dikhaye, to thoda to aise new channels mein sales karwaye. If you really look at it, it's important to be in the branding game. But branding is not selling. Branding is not advertising. Branding is strategy. Yes, this is the difference which is not understood by a lot of manufacturers and by a lot of advertisers. A lot of people think branding is equal to advertising. No, I say branding is equal to strategy. That's why advertising people don't like me too much. I say branding is strategy. I say there is a dog and the dog has a tail. I say the dog is strategy and the tail is activation. The dog is branding. The tail is advertising. Never let the tail wag the dog must wag the tail. So just invest. My suggestion is invest in understanding and creating a clear brand proposition statement for your product. Create it, invest some money in it, get the best minds to think about it. And once you have that brand proposition together, you can go digital with it. But without the brand proposition, you cannot go digital. Because that is the tail wagging the dog. The dog must wag the tail. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Member Jason Bafna. Yes, Jay bhai.
Yeah, this is Ramesh Bafna.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem, Ramesh bhai, go ahead.
I'm from Coimbatore.
Yes.
Hi, Gautam bhai and Harish bhai.
Hi.
I have a question. I've been the president of CRADAI Tamil Nadu, CRADAI National Board member, and we have been working with government in a lot of way to policy formation. And in this lockdown period, we have been having a lot of webinars, Zoom calls with various builders, including the leading builders of like Lodas and Rahejas and the big names, whatever you say. But it was really nice to hear that real estate is going to have a good future. None of these big names were so optimistic about like what you are. And including Deepak Parekh was not very optimistic about
Right.
it.
Right. I know.
He said that real estate is not the time where you should really venture into a big way.
Yeah.
You have to just see that you are able to sustain for at least another 2 years to
Right.
take things forward.
Right.
What is your take on that? It was really clear that you have said something good about real estate and it's going to have a good future. That's
Ramesh bhai, my entire philosophy is anything that you do or anything that you talk, you must talk with market research. I keep saying every step you take, every breath you take, do it with market research. And therefore, I have researched this category and I have researched it over the last 22 days. And I have done a very massive e-research on real estate because I've done it for a client company. Okay. And the beauty of it is when I first went into this investigation, everybody was down and out, including the client. The client, my fees are never negotiated by any client. We don't give them the leeway. We say, this is the way we are. And if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys, and I'm not a monkey. But this client actually started negotiating on the fee with me. And of course, we didn't agree. But because the client said my real estate business is gone to the dogs, there is just no way there will be any improvement. Even I started with the same thought. 22 days later, just 3 days ago, I gave the report to the company. And yesterday, I did a webinar for a real estate major in Bangalore because, they had their team of DSAs together. And I revealed this information yesterday for the first time in front of about 1,000 and odd people on a webinar. Please take my word as follows. Commercial real estate is in the doldrums. Why? Because commercial real estate, the pressure on prices is going to go on. The pressure on space itself is going on. Firstly, the malls of our country are not going to open back with a gung-ho effect too soon. I give it 18 months time for the mall to get back to the old status of business. If there is no recurrence of COVID-19 or any other virus, come winter. And winter for us is November, December. Now, if that doesn't happen, then 18 months later, malls will start working. Malls are the visible sites which tell you whether the economy is back or not. At that point of time, offices, take office space, very bad shape, very bad shape. Bengaluru, I told you, 92+% of offices have gone into work from home. Chennai, Kochi, everywhere. Delhi, Kolkata, Noida, everywhere. These people are not coming back to office too soon. Just imagine there are 100 people working in a company called Infosys. Those 100 people are today all working from home. Let's say 100 people, or 90, or let's say 92 are working from home. 8 people are here and there, not working at all maybe. Those 92 people will not come back fully into the offices once the lockdown goes, because systems have been laid out in place, office structures have been laid out in place, connectivity is laid out in place, working is seamless, comfortable, no problem, everything is okay. And therefore, think there are 100 people working from home. If 50 of them don't come back, 50% of the commercial space is gone, empty. If 80 don't come back, 80 commercial space is empty. Next thought. If there are 100 people, the company may say 50 will come working for 1 week and 50 will come working for another week, which means that I can halve the number of square feet I have. So commercial space is out for a long period of time. And my estimation is commercial space will take 48 to 52 months to bounce back. Okay. What am I talking about? I am very excited about domestic real estate, residential real estate. That's going to boom. That's going to come back. And in yesterday's session, I have patented and coined a word, a phrase. And the phrase I presented to you right in the beginning. And it simply said, the oyster is your world. The oyster is your world. Because of this, everything in the home is going to become important. I am seriously going to think, if I was a person living in a 2-bedroom flat, I'll think I want a 3-bedroom. A 3-bedroom guy will think of a larger space. I want a space to sit and listen to the bird song. I want a little bit of a balcony. I want a little bit of a water body. So if you ask me, premium spaces and luxury spaces will have absolutely no problem. And guess what? Even home spaces for the 80 lakh for a 3-bedroom kind of a category is not going to be a problem. I had addressed, last point on this, in 2015, on the 23rd of August, I addressed the NAR in Bengaluru. They had their annual convention, and I addressed it to about 1,200 people. And I had told them then that we have to prepare ourselves for the tough times, and everything I'm speaking today comes from there. Nothing is new. Believe it or not, I think real estate is a good space to be in residential, terrible space in commercial. Thank you, sir.
Me?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well said.
Can you hear me? Like to add here, today we had a webinar from Anil Agarwal Vedanta in UK. I think Harish Bhai can't hear me. Harish Bhai, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah. Yesterday we had a webinar with Anil Agarwal of Vedanta.
Yeah.
And it's for all the builders and all the people who wanted to grow business. This is, as you said, now like all builder was thinking that we will not grow, but you say you will grow.
Yes.
So he said to all of us, don't think that you know everybody. Pay good charges to consultant. Hire a good consultant.
My life is made. My life is made.
So he said, then you see what is the different kind of views they say, and tell you so many webinars, as Ramesh Bhai said, is the first person who's talking how residential construction will go up. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Next is Jaychand Bafna from Bangalore.
Yeah, good evening, Harish.
Good evening, Jay.
We are into luxury men's clothing. You know my associate, Paresh Lampa.
Okay.
I know you know Paresh.
Sure.
So my question is, will the rich and famous, looking at this COVID and present situation, will stop spending? Number one. Number two, continuing spending it bits and pieces, or go all out on extra accumulated wealth?
Okay. My answer to this is simple. Your business is not going to have a problem. If you really look at it, luxury, and provided you are maintaining your quality to be the repute and the differentiation, everything the way you are, and provided you have your direct links with your customers and you're taking good care of them and their every need, you will not have a problem. But you can have a problem if the minds of people change on spending. But you know, the sad thing, and I wish people change the way they spend, you know, without meaning that it must hurt any business. Just to say that, you know, how many shirts must a man own? How many sherwanis must a man own? How many jackets must a man own? How many, you know, saris must a woman own? Now, let me not talk that subject. It's very dangerous. I will get beaten up by people saying, you know, you can't say such things. Saris are important. Lots of saris are important. The thing is this, people don't think like that as yet. People don't think I have too much and therefore I should stop. The good thing about people is they think I have too much. I must give away my old things to someone so that I can get new things for myself. Even that is okay. Your business will do well on that count. Luxury, premium, I don't have a problem. My problem is with categories which are completely like the second television set, the third television set, and stuff like that. You know, frivolous purchases of those kinds. All the best.
We have Dheeraj Bhai.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, this is Dheeraj Bhandari.
Hi.
We are into the stainless steel business. Okay. We are doing processing. It's just like kind of a value addition. Okay. For like most of our MNC, for elevator industries, for kitchen equipment and wash manufacturing, so many. etc., etc. For as on we are in this line, for us, is it necessary to go for branding? One. So to go for branding, whether we should do the physical like type of branding, or we can go for the digital type of branding.
Okay.
First main is whether we should go for branding or not. Thank you.
Sab, you have asked this question of a very wrong person. I am a branding person. Branding person क्या बताएगा आपको? वो तो बोलेगा definitely you need branding. But having said that, I think branding is important even for people like you, because you must insulate yourself against the future, because you could be a component manufacturer in steel for the watch industry. But it's important for you to not only know the watch industry to who you're supplying or the client you're supplying, the 20 clients or 30 clients you're supplying, but you must also know their clients. So you are normally not bothered about anything more than your B2B clients. You're a business and you're concerned about those 20 businesses. This is not insulating yourself. If you want to be insulated for the long term, your customer's customer is also your customer. Now, your customer's customer, if you want to get to know, you have to build some pride in the steel components that you're actually supplying. Let it be casing, let's say, to a watch manufacturer. Because tomorrow, maybe someday or the other, people will be able to flip that watch back and say, this component is being made by P2P. What is P2P? There is one branding example I want to give you, sir. There is a brand called YKK. YKK. YKK, you started laughing. YKK is a zipper, sir. Every one of us who has a zipper in anything, if you look at it carefully, 82% of all brands of zippers are YKK. Now, YKK, if it is there, who is bothered about this brand? Not at all. But no, if it is a YKK zipper, that garment can charge a better price altogether. And over a period of time, people have realized YKK is important. YKK is not even known by people. Only when a zipper malfunctions, you think of the brand. Arey, ye kaun sa brand hai? But when it functions well, you don't think of it at all. Your watch component is that kind of a component. I think you can actually create quasi-branding for it. Quasi-branding which will give you some identity, because if not this generation, the next generation will want to take the advantage of that branding that you put together. It's the Intel Inside philosophy, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Start branding now. Spend some money on the branding. We have Surendra Sajid. Yes, Surendra bhai. Are you there online? Okay. Till it comes, my son would like to ask some questions. Yeah.
Hello, Uncle.
Hi. Hi.
Uncle, it was too good to hear you, especially the actions and presentation which you were doing. It was too good. Uncle, I've been reading a lot of books in this lockdown, and soon I'm joining my dad's business, Gauma and Art Wale. Okay. So, Uncle, I want to go in depth of branding. So, can you please suggest me some e-books for branding and marketing?
Oh yeah, I think one of the good books, a basic book to read on branding is Managing Brand Equity by David Aaker, Professor David Aaker. Many of the concepts that he presents, I do not agree with, but that doesn't mean that it's not a great book. It's good to read. So start with David Aaker, excellent book to read.
Okay, Uncle. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Uncle.
All the best. All the best.
We have our Shohan Jain, our secretary. Sohan bhai.
Yeah, thank you, Gautam bhai. My question is, most of these streets in bigger cities or tier 2 cities are known with the branded showrooms on those streets. For say Brigade Road, Commercial Street.
Right.
So I just want to know what will be the status of those brands that are lying on those streets post COVID-19.
Okay, brilliant question, sir. It's loaded because I have a quick answer to it because I've just come out of a research on this. The thing is this, in the old days, and I was on a television channel last night talking about the same subject, you know, how small is beautiful, okay? In the old days, what used to happen is we had standalone stores, which were branded stores, and this used to be in every arena, and small stores. So let's take, there is a Will's Lifestyle store. They used to be in Brigade Road, there will be one, and in about 20 different places, there will be one each. People will go in, maximum 20 customers within the shop at a given point of time, and they used to do business. Later in came the big mall, and they put all these shops within the mall. So it became a shop in shop. Now, what happened is, we have about 6,870 malls in the country, which are registered. And if you look at these malls, most of them have grabbed all the high street shops and taken them inside. Now, in comes COVID-19 and dhamaka. What is the dhamaka? Every mall is closed because air conditioning is the enemy of the common man at this point of time. What is the meaning of air conditioning is the enemy of the common man? Very simply, it means to say, people say that, you know, the air conditioning helps breed COVID-19. So can you do something which is going to be dramatically different is what people are saying. So that from the big mall, now what happens, since malls are closed, the high street stores, the single stores of brands are going to do exceedingly well. So what is going to happen is, big is not beautiful, small is beautiful. Now that is interesting. Not only for malls and shops, big hospitals are okay for big problems. But today, if you have a small problem like a dental problem, you will not go to the multi-specialty hospital. In the old days, if you have money, you will go for a small dental problem to the multi-specialty hospital. Today, you're scared to walk into a hospital. And therefore, the small dental clinic is back. The small doctor, local doctor will come back. The standalone is going to become important. The same thing goes for everything. Big is not beautiful, small is beautiful. Lastly, Kirana stores, which are going out of fashion, they've come back, sir. They've come back with a vengeance. Why? Because during COVID-19, the Kirana store stood by its set of customers. There is a Kirana store in a market. Around the market, there are about 500 houses. All those 500 houses went to the Kirana because they could go only to the closest outlets. Big supermarkets, they did not go in. They were air conditioned. Even after they switched off the air conditioning, people were worried about going to big supermarkets because big supermarket, big set of people, too much of exposure. And therefore, they didn't. And the third is e-commerce. E-commerce was supplying, but a lot of people in India have got upset with e-commerce because take grocery suppliers and vegetables and fruit suppliers, very reliable big brand names in this country. They have got a bad reputation today. And I told you, I've just done a research on this and come out. They've got a terrible reputation because people are saying 81.5% of people in my research are saying e-commerce companies have let us down during COVID-19 in grocery and wet supplies. Why? Because when I go and try to order on that e-commerce platform, it comes up, delivery slot not available. Delivery slot not available. What do you think? We consumers are fools? Tell us what is new. And the truth is, it looks like that e-commerce suppliers have set an algorithm to say that only orders beyond 2,000 rupees will be supplied. Anything below 2,000 rupees will not be. We will have a no slot. Now that is not good. I'm not taking any names, but suffice to say that is not good. So e-commerce has got a bad name. Big malls and shopping within malls is not an option for a while. So what grows is the small kirana, the small family doctor, the small single store on Brigade Road or MG Road. Small is beautiful. Once again.
Yeah, Harish, Harish, myself, Surendra Chajet from Ahmedabad.
Hi.
How are you doing, sir?
Hi, good, Surendra. How are you?
Sorry, I couldn't unmute it, unfortunately.
Okay.
So I couldn't speak the last time.
Not a
Sir,
problem.
I have written 2 small letters about COVID. But since I am myself very passionate, I have my own brand called Hriday Se, which is very popular in down Gujarat. It is basically a rehab center. That is it. After discharge from hospital, normally in India, you have people going back to home. Here, we take them before going home. We make them prepared to take the next life. So this is something which is very new in India. Unfortunately, just a year and a half back, I started this brand, which is doing very well. And suddenly all this COVID. Now I really don't know how this side of my business would be. One point is that. Secondly, what I felt, because on the 26th, I released a social media because I've done more than 500 TV shows. Yeah, I'll come back to that same question. I need to explain him my problem. That's it. Harish would be able to understand it. So I was just telling people that COVID has taught us two things, two P's. One is prevention, other is preparation. So you have to prepare your business in such a way so that this prevention you will survive, but preparation is not done, you will not survive.
Right.
How do you take up, and what is my business?
I'll give you a quick answer on this. When I look at your business, it is a very relevant business. It is an original business. It's an innovative business. It is needed for the people. It is a prime need. There are two kinds of rehabilitation. Let us say one is physical and the other is mental. Both are important. Okay. So whether it be psychological rehabilitation or physical rehabilitation, both are extremely important. A lot of people are not in the preventive mindset in this country. If you look at medicine itself, curative medicine is larger in terms of value rather than preventive medicine. And therefore, anybody who starts preventive as a movement today is going to succeed. So if you're going to be on the preventive side and not on the curative, you will do well. If you're on the curative, you will anyway be in the clutter of everybody else. But preventive is to say that, hey, listen, how do I prevent something? For instance, during COVID-19, at the end of the day, COVID-19 is all about the immune system, to the extent to say that if your immunity is great, you will have it lesser, hopefully, or at least that's what one reads on some of the scientific papers that have been released over the last 2 weeks. So immunity boosting is what? Immunity boosting is preventive. But taking care of COVID-19 with a particular type of medication, that is curative. So I think whatever you're doing is going to bounce back. It's going to come back. Only thing is you'll have to invest a lot in zero touch. And zero touch, in the old days, everything used to be about touch points. How many consumer touch points do you have? Now touch points is a sin. Zero touch is the new language. Thank you.
Thank you.
Harish ji.
Right, Oswal sir. Yeah.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Harish ji, hi, this is Jitendra Datia here. Most of the Jain community, if you see, they are primarily into trading business. Now, how do you create a proposition or a value proposition for them when on one side, they are not having any control on the manufacturing, on the other side, there are a lot of tech businesses, platform businesses which are emerging. So how do they create and protect their business in such situation and going forward? That is one question. And second question is about the residential real estate that you spoke. I agree there may be an aspiration to move to a two-room kitchen or two-bedroom kitchen or a three-bedroom kitchen. But do we really have a financial ability to move to there? So are you saying that also have a financial ability and aspiration and then hence it will flourish? So these are the two questions.
Okay. I'll answer the second one first. The thing is this, that when it comes to real estate, any kind of a buy in real estate today in the country is of three types. One of it is 100% self-finance. The second is 50% self-finance. And the third is 10% self-finance. All the three, the 10% and the 50%, depend on credit from the formal banking system. Therefore, the banks have to be supportive of this in a big way. If you really look at it, there are four players in the economy. One is the government and the government policy. The government policy post-COVID in real estate is very important to watch. What is the government going to do for the real estate industry? And that is something you have to ask for. The second thing is, how will banks react to somebody going to approach for a loan to buy a bigger flat? Are they going to be open to it? I think that is the second point you have to take care of. And the third thing is, how are the businesses, that is the real estate majors, how are they going to play it out? Are they going to be in depression? like most people are at this point of time, but showing brave faces, but in their hearts they're totally sunk? Or are they going to come out? And the fourth is the consumer. How long will the consumer take to come out of this entire morass? The most difficult part is the consumer. If the consumer gets funding, that 90% funding from the bank, it's never 90%, but let's say 50% funding and beyond, then he or she will actually want to invest in it. Because what's the best investment today? I mean, there's no good investment. I mean, bank deposits are the best investment. An FD is giving you peanuts. A mutual fund is giving you terrible returns. A stock market has gone into a tizzy. Gold goes up and down. Maybe gold is a great business. What about real estate, and real estate where you want to live, something you want to live in? Because again, fatality is coming into play now. All of a sudden, people are saying, COVID has taught me that I only live for so many years. Most of the time in my research, when you go and ask people, you cannot ask, when do you think you're going to die? Because people think we'll never die. Now, fatalism has come in, saying, I live for so many years. In these so many years, let me live well. That's the mindset. Marketing, branding can help you deepen each of this, but it needs to be done technically with research. The first question, in terms of, the middleman, I think the middleman is at risk today. Okay. And if there are industry bodies which are represented by middlemen, you have to set a thinking task force to say how to crack it. I haven't thought about it as yet. I am going to get into it if an industry body approaches me. At the moment, no individual has the capability or the capacity to approach and say, do something. Industry bodies must do something. Middlemen are in trouble because everything in our life is about disintermediation. Cut the middleman. How does distribution take place in the country? I call it alimentary canal system of distribution. A factory makes stocks, sends it to C&F agent. C&F agent sends it to distributor. Distributor sends it to sub-distributor. Sub-distributor sends it to wholesaler. Wholesaler sends to retailer, and to the retailer come consumers. How many people in the chain? Money is going in each of these chains. Disintermediation is it. And as disintermediation happens, then the middleman is in trouble. India is a nation of middlemen. Please appreciate. Trading is in our DNA. Trading is in trouble. I'm putting a red flag. Okay. Oswalji, I have to go.
Sir,
I'm getting into another webinar.
One question, one lady question.
6 minutes.
Bharti Bhavna last.
Okay.
Be quick.
Hello.
Hello, yeah.
I'm Bharat Bhasna. Sir, I have a doubt. I'm into textile and garment business. It's a credit-based business. So, what do you think about its future?
Okay. My entire view would be that credit is going to get stretched and stressed. Okay. So, if you have taken credit from someone, that credit is up for question. If someone has taken credit from you, that credit is up for question. My advice to people is cut the credit in your business completely. Whether it be textile, whether it be complete commodity, you have to cut your risks on credit both ways. Of course, one is pro you, one is against you. If you really ask me, in troubled times, in acts of God, force majeure kind of times, there are all kinds of things happening. Retail rentals, people are being told, landlords are being told, 3 months don't take rentals because 3 months they're closed. What does the poor landlord do? Can he manage? But it's an act of God. So a force majeure clause can be brought in and said that I won't give you that rental. Credit. No, credit, I can't pay you back the credit. You can't charge an interest on it anyway. So how does it go? When everything stops, credit becomes a big, big fatality. So my view is you have to chop, chop, chop and bring it to the base minimum that needs to be handled. Right. Oswal Saab, I have to go now. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Shon bhai, can you propose thanks, please?
Yes, thank you, Gautam bhai. Just to put on, Gautam bhai is our brand face of Jito. So thank you for hosting such a great session by brand guru Harish ji. And thanks for the Jito fraternity all over the globe and India to be here and present here in this webinar, and hope all had a great time. Thank you once again, Harish ji. Thanks once again.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you, Harish bhai. We had a nice
pleasure.
time.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So we are ending session right now.
Yeah. Let this Bhaur bhai and Son bhai be there online. ठीक है. Bye bye.
So Gautam sir, shall I upload this video to YouTube or what do you?
Yes, yes. Please upload.
Sure.
Also,
Thank you, sir.
also, I would like to mention the Jito backend office for supporting all these webinars. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's our pleasure.
Thanks, Sanjita. Thank you. Thanks, Inder. Bye.
Thank you, sir.